Good afternoon. As a continuity of motion in one dimensions, we shall list out some of the problems which are associated to the formulas which we discussed earlier. Here, question number 1. A particle starts from rest with a uniform acceleration and its velocity after n second is v. The displacement of the body in the last 2 seconds. They are asking you to calculate the displacement of the body in the last 2 seconds. If we need to know the value of displacement of the body in the last 2 seconds, we already saw the formula. Displacement of the body at the nth second can be given as Sn equals u sub xn plus half a to n minus 1. Half a to n minus 1. This is one formula. Another formula, as you know, the second equation of motion is equals ut plus half a t square. This is another formula. Now, we can use any of the formula here, but they have already mentioned the particle starts from rest with the uniform acceleration. Here another equation of motion is also required, v equals u plus at, where it starts from rest, so initial velocity u is 0. v equals a into, they have mentioned the time interval there as nth second, so time t can be taken as n. So v equals a into n, from which we can calculate a equals v divided by n. We got the expression for acceleration, a equals v by n. So what is essential? While solving the problem, we need to know if a particular quantity is not given, we have to bring it from the given data. Then we can go on directly with this expression. Sn equals ud plus half a t square and Sn equals u1 plus half a 2n minus 1. We can choose any one of the formula here. We can go on with S equals ut plus half a t square. In this expression, as we saw, the object is starting from rest, so u is 0, this term goes as 0. So I can write the displacement in the nth second as half a, t is mentioned n, so I can take it as n square. Then they have asked displacement of the body in the last 2 seconds. So the displacement in the earlier second is s of n minus 2, which is half a n minus 2 the whole square, n minus 2 the whole square. You first simplify this expression, half a n square plus 4 minus of 4n. Then this is equal to half a n square plus half into 4a minus of half into 4a n. Now, if you take the difference between these two displacements, then you will get the displacement in the last 2 seconds. So I can write Sn minus of Sn minus 2. Then this is equal to half a n square minus of half a n square plus, as you are taking a difference, we can write minus of half into 4a plus of half into 4a n. This cancels out. Then we can write this is 2an, this is 2a. So 2a n minus of 2a is Sn minus of Sn minus 2. Sn minus of Sn minus 2. So we can calculate the displacement Sn minus of Sn minus 2. I am taking it as simply displacement in the last 2 seconds. Last 2 seconds is 2a n minus of 2a. I am taking 2 out, a out, n minus 1. A is calculated already as v divided by n. On substitution, you will have 2v divided by n into n minus 1. So 2v divided by n into n minus 1 is the answer for this particular question. So how we are proceeding is that first we have to find out the value of acceleration. That for determining acceleration, the very first statement is given. A particle starts from rest with uniform acceleration and its velocity after n second is v. Right? So from which we can just go on. First one. Second one. An object moving with a speed of 6.25 meter per second 6.25 meter per second. It is moving with some velocity v1, 6.25 meter per second. It decelerates at the rate given by dv by dt equals minus of 2.5 root v. dv by dt is the deceleration. As there is deceleration, it is given in negative side minus of 2.5 into root v, where v is the instantaneous speed. Then the time taken by the object to come to rest would be, what will be the time taken by the object at which the object will come to rest. If it is coming to rest, then the velocity is said to be 0. And this velocity 6.25 meter per second is at a time duration t equals 0. So when we are starting our measurement of motion, we are fixing the origin of time as 0. You just look at the case. Yesterday we saw about the origin of time. Object is already possessing some velocity 6.25 meter per second. So it has started its motion earlier. We are starting our measurement at the time t equals 0. So at time t equals 0, velocity is 6.25 meter per second. At what time the velocity will become 0? Means the motion ceases off, the motion stops. And they have given the deceleration is taking place at the rate of dv by dt equals minus of 2.5 into root v. First you simplify this expression. dv divided by root v is equal to minus of 2.5 dt. I can write it as v power minus half into dv equals minus of 2.5 dt. As it is clear, if time changes from 0 to some unknown time, the velocity changes from 6.25 meter per second to 0. So bringing out the limits here by undergoing integration, when velocity changes from 6.25 meter per second to 0, it is v power minus half dv. Then it happens during the time interval 0 to t minus of 2.5 dt. On integration, we will have, this is x power n dx, x power n plus 1 divided by n plus 1, so we will get v power half divided by half between the limits 6.25 to 0. This is equal to minus of 2.5. Integral of dt is t. On applying the limits, upper limit minus lower limit, it is t minus of 0. So, if you look at this expression, I can take this 2 up. V power half between the limit 6.25 to 0, this is equal to minus of 2.5 into t. Substitute the limits here. 2 into 0 power half is 0, it is minus of 6.25, the whole power 1 by 2. This is equal to minus of 2.5 into t. So here there is a negative sign, there is a negative sign, you can cancel it out. Root of 6.25 is 2.5, this gets cancelled out. So time t equals 2 seconds. So we can say when time t equals 0, the velocity is 6.25 meter per second. When the time t equals 2 seconds, it decelerates and comes to rest. Velocity becomes 0. Right? This is the simple manipulation what we have to make while solving this problem. So time taken is 2 seconds. A 150 meter long train is moving with uniform velocity of 45 km per hour. The time taken by the train to cross the bridge of length 850 meters. While solving this problem, this is a simple question. They are asking you to calculate the time taken. We should know about the velocity as well as the displacement or distance traveled. Here, train has some length 150 meter. Bridge has some length 850 meter. So we have to go for effective length. Then with the effective length and the velocity, we can calculate the time taken by the train to cross the bridge. So before solving this problem, we can manipulate the velocity of the train in terms of kilometer per hour to meter per second. So I can write 45 into 5 divided by 18. So this will be equal to is 3 15, 75 divided by 6. So most you will have 12.5 meter per second. Velocity of the train is 12.5 meter per second. Effective length that must be covered by the train, or effective displacement even you can say, is equal to the sum of the length of the train plus length of the bridge. So this is equal to 150 meter plus 850 meter. So this will be equivalent to 1000 meter. Now to calculate time taken, you know the formula: velocity equals displacement by time, effective displacement. So time equals displacement by velocity. Displacement is 1000 meter. Velocity is in terms of meter per second 12.5. So simplifying this, you will have 100 by 8. So 8 into 10, 80 seconds. So the train takes 80 seconds to cross the bridge. Right? Then the next problem, problem number 4. The displacement of a particle moving in a straight line is given by s equals 2t square plus 2t plus 4, where s is in meter and t is in second. Then the acceleration of the particle is. Actually, if displacement is given, s equals 2t square plus 2t plus 4, then in order to calculate acceleration, we can go in 2 steps. The first derivative of displacement is velocity. Second derivative of displacement is acceleration. Our first derivative of velocity is acceleration. We can go step by step. We can calculate, or if a equals dv divided by dt, then we should know what is the value of v. So, as a first step, I can write v equals ds divided by dt. And differentiating this displacement with respect to time, you will have 4t plus 2. 4t plus 2. Acceleration is first derivative of velocity or second derivative of displacement, dv divided by dt. When you calculate, this will be simply 4. So the acceleration possessed by the body is 4 meter per second. This is a simple problem. What we should know is that if displacement is given, you have to calculate, or if you want to calculate velocity, then it is first derivative of time. If you want to calculate acceleration, it is first derivative of velocity or second derivative of displacement. Even you can differentiate this twice, you will get the result. Same thing, same procedure is that. Fine. Then question number 5. The displacement of a particle is given by y equals a plus bt plus ct square minus of dt power 4. The initial velocity and acceleration are respectively. In the question, they have mentioned initial velocity and initial acceleration, right? For both the conditions, for initial velocity and initial acceleration, we have to consider the time t as 0, because we are speaking about the start of motion. At time t equals 0, the velocity possessed by the body is initial velocity. At time t equals 0, the acceleration possessed by the body is initial acceleration. So, they are asking you to calculate the initial velocity and initial acceleration possessed by the body by giving out the value of displacement. Now, if you calculate displacement, v equals dy divided by dt. This is equal to, on differentiating this, differential of a constant is 0. On differentiating this condition, it is simply b plus this is 2ct minus of 4dt cube. As it is mentioned, for initial velocity, we can say time t equals 0. So v will be equal to b plus 2c into 0 minus of 4d into 0 cube. So this entire term goes as 0. So initial velocity is simply equal to b. Then for initial acceleration, we can differentiate the value of velocity once again, right? dv divided by dt. As velocity is differentiated, you will have the constant b. When you differentiate this constant, it will become 0. Differential of this constant is 0. Plus, this is 2c minus of 12d t square. For initial acceleration, time t equals 0 once again. If you substitute t equals 0, then acceleration whose initial value will be equal to 2c. So the initial velocity is v and initial acceleration is 2c. Which is 2c. So b comma 2c. Third option. B comma 2c. Right. Number 6. From the top of a tower, a particle is thrown vertically downwards with a velocity of 10 meters per second. I already told you there is a difference between dropped and thrown. When an object is dropped, its initial velocity is 0. When an object is thrown, you are giving some velocity so that it will be moving in the downward direction. So, from the top of the tower, you consider this as a tower. From the top of the tower, an object is thrown vertically downwards with a velocity of 10 meters per second. With a velocity 10 meters per second. The ratio of the distance covered by it in the third and the second of its motions. Ratio of the distance covered in its third and the second of its motion. Distance traveled. Actually, the object is thrown vertically downwards, so it has been given an initial velocity. Distance ratio of the distance covered by it in the third and the second. So they have mentioned the instants. So distance traveled in the nth second can be calculated as Sn equals un plus half a 2n minus of 1. u1 equals half a 2n minus of 1. As the object is thrown vertically downwards, I already told you the manipulation. Sn is equal to u suffix n plus a half g 2n minus 1. The displacement in the third second can be written as S3 equals un. Initial velocity is 10 meters per second, so I can take 10 plus half g is 10 into 2 into, for the third second I can write 2 into 3 minus of 1. So this will be 10 plus 5 into 6 minus 1 5. So 5, 25 plus 10 35. Similarly, the displacement in the second can be calculated from this expression. S2 equals 10 plus half into 10 into 2 into 2 minus of 1. So this will be 10 plus 5 into 4 minus 1 3. So 15, 25. They are asking you the ratio of S3 to S2. It is 35 divided by 25. So it is 7 divided by 5. So the ratio is 7:5. Second option. Then, problem number 7. A man drops a ball downside from the roof of a tower of height 400 meters. At the same time, another ball is thrown upside with a velocity 50 meters per second from the surface of the tower. Then they meet at which height from the surface of the tower? So, we can draw the diagram once again. Just for our understanding, if you picturize the given data, then solving problem will be very simple. An object is dropped vertically downwards and another object is thrown vertically upwards with a velocity 50 meters per second. The total height of the tower is given 400 meters. This is total height h. If the object is dropped vertically downwards, it travels or it displaces through a height h1, and when the object is thrown vertically upwards from the surface of the tower, then it covers a displacement h2. Let us say the two meets at a point P. These two balls or two objects meet at a point P. So I can bring out the condition h1 plus h2 is equal to 400 meter. h1 plus h2 is equal to 400 meter. You consider this as the first case. The object, or you consider this as point A and this as point B. At A, I can write h1, the displacement in the vertical downward direction. h1 is equal to ut plus half gt square, where initial velocity is 0, so this term goes as 0. h1 equals half gt square. And for the second ball which is thrown from the surface, you can consider at B, the displacement in the upward direction h2 is equal to, you are giving some initial velocity 50 meter per second. So ut minus half gt square. Why? You are throwing the object vertically upwards against gravity, so g must be given negative, right? When you sum up these two expressions, let us say this is 1 and this one is 2. h1 plus h2 is equal to half gt square plus ut minus half gt square. This cancels out. This will be equal to ut. h1 plus h2 is 400 meter. And h1 plus h2 is also equal to ut. On comparing these two expressions, we can write ut is equal to 400 meter, t equals 400 divided by u, which is nothing but 400 divided by this initial velocity, which is 50. So 8 seconds. Time is 8 seconds. What we calculated is time. But what is asked is at what height the two objects meet. And especially they have mentioned it from the surface. Then they meet at which height from the surface of the tower. They have clearly mentioned. At which height they will meet from the surface of the tower. We have calculated the time t equals 8 seconds. The question asked is, they meet at which height from the surface of the tower. So this is the surface of the tower. At which height from the surface of the tower they will meet. So we have to calculate h2. Now to calculate h2, we can use the formula. As ut is calculated 400 meter, I can directly substitute 400 minus of half, g is 10, and time is 8 seconds, so it is 8 square. This is 400 minus of 5 into 64. This is 400 minus of 320, so 80 meter. h2 is 80 meter. Third option. If the same question is asked, then they meet at which height from the top of the tower or roof of the tower. Then we can simply write it is 320 meter. 400 minus of 80, 320 meter. Both the options are there. You have to be very careful. At what height from the surface of the tower they meet. So at a height of 80 meter, they used to meet. A police jeep chasing with a velocity of 45 km per hour. A thief in another jeep moving with a velocity 153 km per hour. Police fires a bullet with a muzzle velocity of 180 meter per second. The velocity it will strike the car of the thief is. In this particular question, this muzzle is nothing but the tip of the gun from where the bullet is fired. So right at that point, the velocity possessed by the bullet is 180 meter per second. Now the question is very simple. We can consider this as the police jeep. This is the thief's jeep. A bullet is fired from the police jeep. This is moving with the velocity 180 meter per second. Police jeep is moving with the velocity. This is the velocity of the bullet. Police jeep is moving with a velocity 45 km per hour. Thief jeep is moving with a velocity 153 km per hour. 153 km per hour. Now, what is the velocity with which the bullet will strike the car of the thief? This is the question. In order to calculate the velocity of the bullet, first you have to calculate the effective velocity of the bullet. Because police jeep is moving, from there the bullet is also moving. So bullet is possessing an effective velocity, means the velocity of the police jeep plus velocity of the bullet. So effective velocity of the bullet is the sum of velocity of police jeep plus velocity of bullet, or speed of police jeep plus speed of bullet. The velocity of police jeep is in terms of 45 km per hour. So 45 into 5 divided by 18, so that you will get in terms of meter per second. And velocity of bullet is in terms of meter per second, 180 meter per second. This is 12.5 meter per second plus 180 meter per second. So 192.5 meter per second. This is the effective velocity of the bullet along with the police jeep. Right? The velocity of the thief's jeep is in terms of kilometer per hour, 153 kilometer per hour. You can convert it in terms of meter per second by multiplying it with 5 by 18. What you will get is 42.5 meter per second. 42.5 meter per second. Now, you have to calculate the relative velocity. Thief's jeep is moving in a particular direction. Police jeep along with the bullet is also moving along the same direction. So the relative velocity of the bullet with respect to the thief's jeep is Vv minus of velocity of the thief's jeep. Velocity of the bullet is 192.5 meter per second. Velocity of the thief's jeep is 42.5 meter per second. If you calculate the difference between these two, it is 150 meter per second. So velocity of the bullet with which, or velocity of the bullet with which the bullet strikes the thief's jeep is 150 meter per second. 150 meter per second. Then, question number 9. A body falls from a height of h equals 200 meter. The ratio of the distance travelled in each 2 seconds during t equals 0 to t equals 6 seconds of the journey. Just look at the question. Question has they are playing a trick in this question. They are asking you to calculate the distance travelled in each 2 seconds during t equals 0 to t equals 6 seconds. So if an object is dropped from certain height, let us say 200 meter, height h is 200 meter, at the time, initial time from where, or initial time at which the object is dropped is t equals 0. Then at the second, then at the 4th second, then at the 6th second. They are asking you to calculate the ratio of the distances traveled. In each 2 seconds during t equals 0 to t equals 6 seconds of this journey. So I can consider this distance traveled as S1 and this distance traveled as S2 and this distance traveled as S3. In the first 2 seconds, the distance traveled is S1. In the first 4 seconds, distance traveled is S2. In the 6 seconds, distance traveled is S3. Now, if I take a difference between S2 and S3, I will get the distance traveled between 2 seconds to 4 seconds. If I take a difference between S3 and S2, I will get the difference or distance traveled between 6 seconds and 4 seconds, right? So in this way, I can take the ratio of the distance traveled in the journey. So to calculate S1, I can write S1 equals or S equals ut plus half gt square. As it is dropped from certain height, we can say initial velocity is 0, displacement S equals half gt square. Now, for the first 2 seconds, I can take S1. S1 equals half into 10 into 2 square. This is 5, 2 square is 4, so 20 meter. So this distance traveled is 20 meter. Then S2 is equal to half into 10 into for the next 2 seconds. But here we are calculating S2 from the beginning because we are considering the initial velocity here as 0. So we have to start from this point itself. So we can write ut is 0 as it is, half of g into t square. Total time is 4 seconds. So 4 the whole square, this is 5. So 5 into 4 square 16, so 80 meter. Then distance traveled in the 6 seconds. S3. Once again, you are coming from the starting point. Initial velocity is 0. After 6 seconds, it reaches the ground. So S3 equals half into 10 into 6 square. This is 5. 5 into 36, we will be getting 180 meter. Now, I can say x1 is equal to s1. x1 is equal to s1, where x1 is the distance travelled in the first second. Distance travelled in first second is s1. So this is 20 meter. 20 meter. Distance travelled in the second is x2, which is s2 minus of s1. Which is s2 minus of s1. So 80 minus of 20, 60 meter. Distance travelled in the third 2 second. Third 2 second. I can take it as x3, which is s3 minus of s2, which is 180 minus of 80, 100 meter. If you want to calculate the ratio, x1 is 2, x2 is 2, x3. This x1, x2, x3 are the distances covered in the first 2 second, next 2 second, and then next 2 second. So this is 20 is to 60 is to 100. So 1 is to 3 is to 5. So the ratio is 1 is to 3 is to 5. The same problem can be asked in a different form. That is, what is the relation between the distances covered in the first 2 second, next 2 second, and then next 2 second? How will you relate? How will you relate the distances traveled? How will you relate the distances traveled? That can be easily be done, right? As we saw, I can work out here. x1 is equal to 20 meter. x2 is 60 meter, which is 3 times that of x1. 3 times that of x1. x3 is 100 meter, which is 5 times that of x1. 5 times that of x1. So x1 is 20 meter. Here I can write x1 equals 20 meter. x1 is equal to x2 divided by 3. So this is x1. This is x2 divided by 3. And here from the third expression, x1 is equal to x3 divided by 5. x3 divided by 5. All these are equal. So I can equate all these three as x1 equals x2 by 3 equals x3 divided by 5. So I can relate all the three distances travelled in the successive 2 seconds as x1 equals x2 by 3 equals x3 by 5. I am equating it. Here I am taking the ratio. Ratio is 1 is to 3 is to 5. If you are asked to equate this distances travelled, then x1 equals x2 by 3 equals x3 divided by 5. Next question. Two boys are standing at the ends A and B of a ground where AB equals A. The boy at B starts running in a direction perpendicular to AB with velocity v1. The boy at A starts running simultaneously with a velocity v and catches the other boy in a time t, where time t is. At what time these two fellows will meet? A and B are the two positions where two boys are standing. They are at a distance A. The boy at point B is moving with a velocity, let us say v1, perpendicular to AB. The other fellow is moving with a velocity v. He is meeting at this particular point, let us say C. What is the time taken here? Actually, this A and B are separated by distance A. We know the velocity with which the boy is moving from A. If you want to calculate the distance here, I can mark this as x1. This is equal to v into t. And the distance travelled by the boy B to meet the point C can be taken as x2 equals v1 into t. That's all. By applying Pythagoras theorem, we can simply calculate what is the time taken. So, hypotenuse square, hypotenuse square, v square t square is equal to the square of the other two sides, sum of the square of the other two sides, v1 square t square plus a square. So distances are equated. If you take this velocity term this side, v square t square minus of v1 square t square, this is equal to a square. T square is taken out, v square minus of v1 square equals a square. T square equals a square divided by v square minus of v1 square. T equals square root of a square divided by v square minus of v1 square. Expressions will look different, but question is very simple. This is the time at which the two fellows from A and B will meet at the point C. Right. Question number 11. The displacement x of a particle varies with the time t as given by the expression x equals a e power minus alpha t plus b power beta t, where a, b, alpha and beta are positive constants. The velocity of the particle will, what will be the velocity of the particle? The value of displacement is given by the expression x equals a e power minus of alpha t plus b e power beta t. They are asking you to calculate the velocity of the particle. How the velocity of the particle will be? They are given in terms of statements. It go on decreasing with time. It is b independent of alpha and beta. Drop to 0 when alpha equals b. Beta goes on increasing with time. How will you check it out? Simply calculate the value of velocity, which is the first derivative of displacement, v equals dx by dt. As you differentiate this expression, a e power minus alpha t, you can write minus of alpha a e power minus alpha t. E power alpha t remains alpha t, e power minus alpha t itself. On differentiating it, a is a constant given, alpha is a positive constant. On differentiating e power minus alpha t, you will get minus alpha. The same way, beta b e power beta t. This is the expression. With this, we cannot arrive at any conclusion. Go for acceleration. A equals dv divided by dt. Once again, you differentiate this given expression. Minus alpha, already there is a minus alpha. So, you will have alpha square a e power minus alpha t plus beta. Another one beta is there. So, beta square b e power beta t. B e power beta t. If you look at this expression, acceleration is positive. Acceleration is positive. If acceleration is positive, what will happen to velocity? Velocity will increase with the time. Velocity will increase with time. So this is the option. It goes on increasing with respect to time. You understand this? Then, next question. 12. A ball is thrown vertically upward. It has a speed of 10 meters per second when it has reached 1/2 of its maximum height. How high the ball rise? How high the ball rise? So if you just look at the question, question number 12. A ball is thrown vertically upwards. It has a speed of 10 meters per second. A ball is thrown vertically upward. It has a speed of 10 meters per second at a height h by 2. I can take it as capital H by 2. What height does the ball will rise? This is the question asked. What height does the ball will rise? So the value of speed alone is known, and it is at a height h by 2. These are the contents what we know. We can go on with the equation of motion, that this can be simply worked out logically even. Very simply you can work it out. I can do it in the two ways. First one, if I consider this movement of the ball which is thrown vertically upwards, as it reaches the height h by 2, it possesses a velocity 10 meters per second. We don't know what is the value of initial velocity, but some amount of initial velocity might be given to the ball so that it will be moving in the upward direction. So I can go with the equation of motion, v square equals u square minus of 2gh. Why I am taking minus? I am just throwing the ball vertically upwards against gravity, so minus of 2gh. Now, what is the velocity attained by the ball at a height h by 2, 10 meters per second? You consider this as the final velocity for this particular case. So, it is 10 square, which is equal to u square minus of 2 into g is 10, h is h by 2. H is h by 2. Can cancel this out. So 10 square is equal to u square minus of simply 10h. You will get this expression. Now, if you consider the ball is once again thrown at the same initial velocity u, if it is reaching the maximum height, what is the velocity possessed by the ball at its maximum height? 0. Final velocity is 0. So, from the same expression, I can write 0 square is equal to u square is the initial velocity given. Now, it is 2 into 10 into capital H, because it travels a height h and reaches the maximum where its velocity becomes 0. From this expression, let us say this is 1 and this one has 2. From this expression, I can write u square is equal to 20h. U square equals 20h. Substitute this u square in expression 1. 10 square equals 20h minus of 10h. This is 10h. This is equal to 100. H equals 100 by 10, which is 10 meter. 100 by 10, which is 10 meter. So this is the 100 by 10, 10 meter. This can be simply worked out. How? If you consider this is the height h by 2 traveled by the ball and attained a velocity 10 meter per second. From here, the ball travels this much height, which is h by 2. So we can say initial velocity of the ball from this point is 10 meter per second. And the final velocity is 0. Height traveled is h by 2. With the same expression, final velocity is 0. Initial velocity is 10 meter per second, so 10 square minus of 2 into g is 10 into h is h by 2. If you cancel this out, 100 equals 10h, h equals 10 meter. Simple. Only idea is that if you start from this point of motion, you have to consider this as the initial velocity, final velocity is 0, distance traveled is h by 2. That's all. Then question number 13. A particle moves along a straight line OX. At a time t in seconds, the distance x is in meter of the particle is given by x equals 40 plus 12t minus of t cube. How long the particle traveled before coming to rest? What will be the distance covered by the particle before it comes to rest? If you say the particle is coming to rest, the velocity at the point where it comes to rest is 0. Right? So displacement is given. We can write x is equal to 40 plus 12t minus of t cube, from which we have to calculate how long the distance will be traveled by the body before it comes to rest. So velocity is the first derivative of displacement, which is dx divided by dt. If you differentiate this, differential of a constant is 0, differential of 12t is 12, and differential of t cube is 3t square. And it is mentioned the object is coming to rest. So velocity is 0. 0 equals 12 minus of 3t square, from which time can be calculated as 2 seconds. Time can be calculated as 2 seconds. Substitute this time in this expression, given expression, so that you can calculate the distance traveled. X equals 40 plus 12 into 2 minus of 2 cube. So 40 plus 24 minus of 8, then this will be equal to 64 minus of 8, 56 meter. So before coming to rest, the body will travel a distance of 56 meter. Question number 14. A car moves from x to y with a uniform speed vu and returns to y with a uniform speed vd. The average speed for this round trip is. Question number 14. A car moves from x to y with vu, initial velocity, and then returns back with the velocity, let us say vd. They are asking you to calculate the average speed. We saw the expression for average speed. Total distance traveled by total time. Total distance traveled can be simply expressed here. From x to y, distance is s. From y to x, distance is s. So total distance is s plus s. This is 2s. Total time must be calculated. Total time must be calculated. For the trip from x to y, time is taken to be t1. Time taken is distance traveled by velocity. So I can write xy divided by vu. Similarly, time taken t2 equals same displacement xy. I can write it as yx also even. Yx divided by vd. Total time taken is t1 plus t2. So we can write xy by vu plus yx divided by vd. Xy and yx are s itself. So s divided by vu plus s divided by vd. You can calculate the average speed here. Average speed is equal to total displacement or total distance traveled divided by total time. Because we are calculating speed here, total distance traveled is 2s divided by s into 1 by vu plus 1 divided by vd. This gets cancelled out. So you will get 2 vu vd divided by vu plus vd. This is the average speed. This is the average speed. So average speed is equal to the harmonic mean of the individual speeds. Harmonic mean of the individual speeds. Right. Question number 15. A particle is moving along x-axis has an acceleration f. At a time t given by f equals f naught into 1 minus of t by capital T, where fo and t are constants. The particle at t equals 0 has 0 velocity. In the time interval between t equals 0 and the instant when f equals 0. What is f? It is mentioned as acceleration. So when time t equals 0, velocity is 0, and at the instant when acceleration equals 0, what will be the particle's velocity? What will be the particle's velocity? Question is very simple. They are saying when time t equals 0, velocity is 0. When time is t, what is the velocity vx? Where acceleration is 0. Acceleration is 0. If this kind of conditions are given, then this must be considered as the limits to solve the problems. If you are speaking about limits, then you have to go on with integration. Right. Given expression is f is equal to fo into 1 minus of small t divided by capital T. This has been mentioned as acceleration, which is first derivative of velocity. So I can write dv equals fo into 1 minus of small t by capital T into dt. As it is very clearly mentioned, when time t equals 0, velocity is 0. When time is t, what is the value of velocity? Vx is asked. So I am integrating between the limits 0 to vx, dv equals integral 0 to t, fo 1 minus of small t by capital T into dt equals f naught into integral 0 to t dt minus of integral 0 to t small t by capital T into dt, f naught into t minus of 1 by capital T into t square divided by 2. Vx is f naught t minus of t square by 2t into f naught. As the condition is given, f equals 0 at some time interval t. What is the time interval? 0 equals f naught into 1 by small t by capital T. If you substitute and simplify, t equals capital T. If you substitute this expression or this value in this particular expression, Vx equals f naught t minus of t square f naught by 2t. This is f naught capital T minus of half f naught t, which is half f naught capital T. So option is half f naught capital T. 16. A bus is moving with a speed of 10 meters per second on a straight road. A scooter wishes to overtake the bus in 100 seconds. If the bus is at a distance of 1 kilometer from the scooterist, with what speed should the scooterist chase the bus? With what speed should the scooterist go to catch the bus? That's the question. Question number 16. Right? Scooterist is moving. Bus is moving at a particular distance. They are kept separated, or they are at a distance of 1 kilometer. Bus is at a distance of 1 kilometer from the scooterist. The speed of the bus is 10 meters per second. What should be the speed of the scooterist to chase the bus, to overtake the bus? That's the question. So we can go here. The velocity of the scooterist with respect to bus is Vs minus of Vb, as both are moving along the same direction. Velocity of the bus is given 10 meters per second, so Vs minus of 10. Vsb is the relative velocity. Relative velocity equals relative displacement divided by 10. Relative distance or relative displacement is 1 kilometer, which is 1000 meter, divided by time taken is let us say 100 second, given 100 second. So this is equal to 10 meters per second. The relative velocity of the scooterist with respect to bus is 110 meters per second. So 10 equals Vs minus of 10. So Vs equals 20 meters per second. Velocity of the scooterist must be equal to 20 meters per second. So if you directly calculate the relative velocity as relative displacement by time, you will get 10 meters per second. If the scooterist travels with a velocity of 10 meters per second, he can reach the bus, but he cannot overtake the bus. In order to overtake the bus, he should add up the velocity of the bus too. So 10 plus 10, 20 meters per second. Logically, you can bring out the result here. Right. Question number 17. The displacement x is in meters of a particle of mass m in kilogram moving in one dimensions under the action of a force is released due to a time t in second by t equals root x plus 3. The displacement of the particle when its velocity is 0 will be same as that. Already we solved a similar problem, but here we have to do a simple manipulation. We can say the time is given in terms of t equals root x plus 3. You can simply manipulate this. T minus of 3 equals root x. X is equal to t minus of 3 the whole square. So I got an expression for displacement. Now you can calculate what is the displacement of the particle when its velocity is 0. Velocity of the particle can be calculated. V equals dx divided by dt. This is 2 into t minus of 3. It is mentioned when velocity is becoming 0, then time will be equal to 3 seconds. If you substitute this 3 seconds in this expression for displacement, then t equals 3 minus of 3 the whole square. 0 square, which is 0. So the displacement made by the body is 0. Right? So the option is C. Here the option is 20 meters per second. Now, question number 18. A particle of unit mass undergoes one-dimensional motion such that its velocity varies according to v of x equals beta x power minus 2n, where beta and n are constants and x is the position of the particle. The acceleration of the particle as a function of x is given by. They have given the expression for velocity and they are asking to calculate the acceleration of the particle as a function of x. Generally, we used to represent the velocity of the particle in terms of time. Velocity is the rate of change of displacement with respect to time. Acceleration is also rate of change of velocity, means change in velocity with respect to time. But here, acceleration of the particle as a function of x is asked. We saw the expression for acceleration of a particle in terms of x as a equals v into dv divided by dx. dv divided by dx. So this is a typical formula. Actually, you always used to represent the value of acceleration in terms of dv divided by dt. Here it is dv divided by dx. They are asking it in terms of x. So dv by dx must be calculated from the given expression. dv by dx is equal to d by dx of beta x power minus of 2n. On differentiating this, you will have minus of 2n beta x power minus 2n plus 1. Nx power n minus 1, I'm sorry. Nx power n minus 1. So minus 2n minus 1. This is the value of dv divided by dx. Now, acceleration a equals v into dv divided by dx. What is the value of v of x given? Beta x power minus 2n into, what is dv by dx? Minus of 2n beta x power minus 2n minus 1. So, minus 2n beta square x power minus of 4n minus 1. This is the expression for acceleration of the particle as a function of x. Fine. Question number 19. So, option A is minus of 2n beta square minus 4n minus 1. Option is B. Then, two cars P and Q start from a point at the same time in a straight line and their positions are represented by xp of t equals at plus bt square and xq of t is equal to ft minus of t square. At what time do the cars have the same velocity? They are asking you to find out the time. At what time the cars will have the same velocity? They are starting from two different points. P, Q, and Q start from a point. They start from the point at the same time in a straight line. They are moving in a straight line. And their positions are given. xp of t is at plus bt square and xq of t is ft minus of t square. At what time do the cars have the same velocity? They are asking you to find out the time. So, velocity of the car which starts from p can be given as dxp divided by dt. On differentiating the first expression, you will have a plus 2bt, a plus 2bt. Velocity of the car which starts from q, or velocity of the car q is dxq divided by dt. This is equal to f minus of 2t. If the two cars are supposed to possess same velocity, then we can easily calculate the time by comparing these velocities. They are saying velocity of the car P and velocity of the car Q have the same velocity. On equating this, a plus 2bt equals f minus of 2t. Take the time terms on one side. 2bt plus 2t equals f minus of a. F minus of a. So t into 2b plus 1 equals f minus a. So t equals f minus a divided by this one, 2 into b plus 1. So t equals f minus a divided by 2 into b plus 1. So f minus a divided by 2 into b plus 1 or 1 plus b. Option is this one. So option is B. Thank you.